Imagine waking up one morning to find that half of your retirement savings has vanished. Not because you made bad investments, not because the market crashed, but because your government decided that your 401k was the perfect piggy bank to solve a problem that's been decades in the making. Before we dive into this urgent warning, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now. Why? Because in the next 2,000 words, I'm going to show you exactly how your retirement money is being positioned as the bailout fund for a system that's collapsing under its own weight. And trust me, the mainstream media won't tell you this story until it's too late. Subscribe now to get the latest news completely unfiltered. The year is 2026. The national debt just crossed $38.43 trillion. That's not a typo. 38 trillion, and it's growing at $8 billion per day, every single day. While you're working, sleeping, or watching this video, the government is adding another $8 billion to a debt that your children and grandchildren will be paying off for generations. But here's what they're not telling you. That debt isn't just a number on a screen. It's a ticking time bomb, and your 401k, that's sitting right on top of it. Let's talk numbers that should terrify you. Americans have approximately $30 trillion sitting in retirement accounts right now. 401k plans, 403b accounts, IRAs, that's $30 trillion that the government can see, track, and most importantly, access. Now you might be thinking, but that's my money, I earned it, I saved it, they can't touch it, and you'd be wrong. Let me show you exactly how the trap is being set. In 2022, the Biden administration quietly signed off on a $90 billion bailout for union pension plans through something called the Special Financial Assistance Program. $90 billion of taxpayer money injected into private sector union pensions that were on the verge of collapse. The Pension Benefit Guaranty Corporation, the government agency that insures these pensions, was set to become insolvent in 2026. Sound familiar? That's this year. But here's the kicker. According to pension experts at the Reason Foundation, there are zero safeguards in place to prevent these same plans from running out of money again. Zero. The government threw $90 billion at a problem, changed the rules to let these pension fund managers invest in riskier assets, including stocks, and then walked away hoping for the best. Let me translate that for you. They took your tax dollars, gave them to the same people who mismanaged billions in the first place, and then let them gamble with even riskier investments. What could possibly go wrong? Now here's where things get really interesting. In August 2025, President Trump signed an executive order that's being sold as democratizing access to alternative assets. Sounds great, right? Who doesn't want more investment options? But let me peel back the curtain for you. This executive order opens the door for your 401k to be invested in private equity, hedge funds, cryptocurrencies, venture capital, and other alternative assets. The financial services industry that includes hedge funds donated over $200 million to Trump's 2024 campaign. $200 million. You think that was charity? No. That was an investment. And now they're getting their return. Here's what the order actually does. It directs the Department of Labor and the Securities and Exchange Commission to create new rules that would allow employers to offer these alternative investments in your retirement plan. And while it's being marketed as giving you more choices, let me explain what it really means. Private equity funds charge massive fees. We're talking 2% management fees plus 20% of profits. Compare that to the average 401k plan that's finally moved to lower fee ETFs and index funds. You were paying maybe 0.1 to 0.5% in fees. Now they want you paying 2% plus performance fees. That's not democratization. That's legalized theft. Former PayPal CEO Bill Harris said it plainly. Private equity funds do not belong in the 401k of an ordinary investor. Why? Because when you hold private equity in a tax-deferred account like a 401k, the gains are automatically converted to ordinary income, taxed at a maximum federal rate of 37% instead of the 20% long-term capital gains rate. You're literally paying almost double the taxes for the privilege of enriching Wall Street with higher fees. Now let me connect the dots for you because this is where it gets absolutely critical. The United States borrowed $602 billion in just the first 3 months of fiscal year 2026, $600 billion in 90 days. The deficit for the full year is on track to hit nearly $2 trillion. Meanwhile, interest payments on the national debt hit $179 billion in just the first quarter. That's more than we spend on national defense for the same period. Here's the math that should keep you up at night. The Congressional Budget Office projects that interest on the debt will hit $1.6 trillion by 2034. $1.6 trillion just in interest. Not paying down the debt, just servicing it, that will represent $1 in $4 collected in individual income taxes going straight to interest payments. Now, where do you think the government is going to look when Social Security's trust fund becomes insolvent in 2032, when Medicare needs more money, when they can't make interest payments on the debt? They're going to look at that $30 trillion sitting in your retirement accounts and they're going to say, we need that for the greater good. You might be thinking this sounds like conspiracy theory, but let me show you the exact playbook because it's already happened in other countries. In 2008, Argentina seized private pension accounts and nationalized them to pay government debts. In 2010, Hungary did the same thing. In 2013, Poland confiscated half of private pension funds. In 2015, Greece raided pension funds to make debt payments. These aren't third world countries. These are modern economies that found themselves in the exact same debt spiral we're in right now. But America is different, you say. Really? Let me tell you what's already happening. Vanguard, one of the largest 401k providers, announced they're now offering annuity options within 401k plans. Sounds innocent, right? Guaranteed income, stability, peace of mind. But here's what they don't advertise. Once your money goes into an annuity, it's no longer really yours. It's a contract. And contracts can be modified, especially in times of national emergency. The government is already setting precedent. The $90 billion pension bailout I mentioned earlier, the rules were changed to allow 1/3 of those taxpayer funds to be invested in stocks, overriding previous restrictions that limited them to investment-grade bonds. If they can change the rules for union pensions, what makes you think they won't change the rules for your 401k? Here's another angle they're working. Starting in 2026, if you earn over $145,000 and you're 50 or older, your catch-up contributions to your 401k must go into a Roth account. That means no upfront tax deduction. You pay taxes now at potentially higher rates. Why does this matter? Because it's forcing higher earners to pay more taxes today while simultaneously limiting their ability to shield income. The government gets revenue now, and you get less flexibility for retirement. It's a subtle wealth transfer that most people won't even notice until they do their taxes. Meanwhile, Medicare Part B premiums jumped almost 10% in 2026, from $185 to $203 per month. That premium gets deducted directly from Social Security checks. So that 2.8% cost of living adjustment that retirees got in January, almost $18 of it gets eaten immediately by higher Medicare costs. This is the squeeze. Higher taxes, higher healthcare costs, lower benefits, and all of it is designed to push you toward accepting solutions that benefit the government and Wall Street, not you. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. According to the Center for Retirement Research at Boston College, 39% of working-age households will not be able to maintain their standard of living in retirement. 39%. And when researchers asked retirees in a non-threatening way if they wished they'd saved more, 52% said yes. We have an actual retirement crisis. About 45% of Americans will experience retirement funding shortfalls if they retire at 65, according to Morningstar. The full retirement age is now 67. People are living longer, costs are rising faster than inflation for healthcare and housing, and an increasing share of elderly Americans are spending more than 1/3 of their income on housing alone. So what's the government's solution? Is it to help people save more, to reduce the tax burden on retirement savings, to shore up Social Security and Medicare through responsible fiscal policy? No. The solution is to give Wall Street access to your 401k so they can charge you higher fees. The solution is to bail out mismanaged pension funds with your tax dollars. The solution is to push people into annuities and alternative investments that lock up your money and reduce your control. See the pattern? Every solution involves you having less control over your money and them having more. Here's what most people don't realize. The infrastructure to control your retirement accounts is already in place. The government already tracks every dollar in your 401k. The IRS knows exactly how much you have, where it's invested, and when you take distributions. Required minimum distributions force you to withdraw money at 73 whether you need it or not, generating tax revenue. The Pension Benefit Guaranty Corporation already has authority over private sector pensions. The Department of Labor already regulates 401k plans. The legal framework for government intervention in retirement accounts isn't some future possibility, it's current law. All they need is a crisis, a market crash, a debt crisis, a Social Security insolvency. Any emergency will do. And then, for the good of the country, for national security, to protect retirees, they'll implement temporary measures that become permanent. Maybe it starts with mandatory government bonds in your portfolio. Maybe it's a special retirement tax. Maybe it's forcing 401k plans to invest in infrastructure projects or green energy initiatives. However they frame it, the result is the same: your retirement money funding government priorities instead of your retirement. The Axios report on the retirement crisis mentions that experts have been warning about this for decades. But here's what they don't say. Every time there's a proposal to actually fix the problem, like increasing contribution limits, reducing taxes on retirement savings, or reforming Social Security to be sustainable, it gets killed by politicians who need that money for other priorities. The contribution limits for 2026 went up modestly. 401k limit increased to $24,500 from $23,500. IRA limit went to $7,500 from $7,000. These are tiny increases that don't even keep pace with inflation in many cases. Meanwhile, the average American is carrying more debt than ever. According to recent research, workers earning over $150,000 contribute nearly 13 times more toward retirement than those earning under $50,000. The retirement crisis is really a wealth inequality crisis, and the people least prepared for retirement are the ones who will be hurt most by any government intervention in retirement accounts. So when does this all come to a head? Let me give you the timeline based on current projections. Social Security's retirement trust fund becomes insolvent in 2032. That's 6 years from now. When that happens, there will be an automatic 24% across-the-board benefit cut unless Congress acts. 24%. For a typical couple retiring then, that's an $18,400 annual benefit cut. Medicare's Hospital Insurance Trust Fund is projected to be depleted around the same time. The national debt, which is already at 120% of GDP, is projected to hit 134% by 2035 under alternative scenarios that assume current policies continue. Interest on the debt will exceed $1 trillion per year very soon. It already hit close to that in fiscal year 2025 at $952 billion. We're talking about a convergence of crises in the next 6 to 10 years, and every single one of those crises will be met with the same question from politicians: where are we going to get the money? And the answer, whether they say it out loud or not, is from the $30 trillion sitting in American retirement accounts. Here's the reality. You can't stop the government from doing what it's going to do, but you can position yourself to minimize the damage. First, understand that diversification isn't just about stocks and bonds anymore. It's about jurisdictional diversification. Consider what percentage of your wealth is under direct government control versus what's in assets they can't easily access. Second, be extremely cautious about any new 401k investment options that involve annuities, private equity, or other alternative assets with high fees and low liquidity. Remember, if you can't easily get your money out, you don't really control it. Third, pay attention to the details in tax law changes. Every small change in contribution limits, tax treatment, or withdrawal rules is part of a larger strategy. They're not making these changes to help you. They're making them to maximize revenue and control. Fourth, consider the Roth versus traditional debate through a new lens. Roth accounts require you to pay taxes now but grow tax-free. Traditional accounts defer taxes. If you believe taxes are going up or that there's a risk of wealth confiscation, Roth accounts might provide some protection because you've already paid the tax, but neither is a perfect shield. Fifth, and this is critical, stay informed. The mainstream media will not cover this story until it's too late. They didn't warn you about the pension crisis. They didn't warn you about the debt crisis. They won't warn you about the retirement account crisis until the day they announce the solution. Your 401k is not safe just because you've been told it's your money. History shows that when governments run out of money, they find creative ways to access private wealth. They'll call it patriotic. They'll call it necessary. They'll call it protecting retirees, but the result is the same. Your wealth transferred to cover their mistakes. The pension bailout of 2022 was the test run. The Trump executive order opening 401k plans to private equity is the access point. The coming Social Security and Medicare insolvency is the crisis that will justify action. And your $30 trillion in retirement savings is the target. This isn't about Republican or Democrat. This isn't about left or right. This is about up and down. The people at the top, the politicians, the Wall Street insiders, the pension fund managers, they're all on the same team. And you, the average American trying to save for retirement, you're not on that team. You're the one funding it. The warning signs are all there. The national debt growing at $8 billion per day, interest payments consuming a quarter of tax revenue, pension bailouts with no accountability, new rules pushing your retirement money into high-fee alternative investments, Medicare and Social Security heading toward insolvency, and a government that's shown repeatedly it will change the rules whenever it benefits them to do so. You've been warned, the trap is set. The only question is whether you'll see it before it closes. Make sure you're subscribed to this channel for unfiltered news and analysis you won't get anywhere else. Share this video with everyone you know who has a 401k or any retirement savings. The more people who understand what's coming, the harder it will be for them to pull it off quietly. Your retirement is under attack, and the attackers are the very people who told you to save in the first place. Welcome to 2026, where you own nothing and you're definitely not happy about it.